with a proper understanding of our faith, we have a proper appreciation, which will lead us to that living of our faith. But if we live our faith, what will be the consequence? Faith is the root of all the virtues. So we can start there with that image of a root. What does it do? It pushes itself up until a plant breaches the surface of the ground. It grows. It forms a trunk. It forms branches. It covers itself with leaves. These are already fruits that come from the root, but they are not fruit properly speaking. Finally, those branches, those leaves, put forth buds that flower and then turn into real fruit. Think of an apple tree or a pear tree or any of the other fruit trees. That is an image of what our faith should bring when we live it. The trunk and the branches are the fruit of hope. The foliage would be the fruit of the other virtues, of obedience, of patience, of humility. And finally, the piece of fruit itself, the apple, or the orange, or the pear, that is, my friends, the fruit of the virtue of charity. This is the image of our soul living by faith. And God comes to such a soul, and he sees that the tree is indeed beautiful. And so he wants to stay and look and contemplate its beauty. The tree has foliage which gives shade, so that the good God would want, as it were, to rest under that tree, next to that tree, close to that tree. And the good God resting under that tree will put up his hand and reach for one of the fruits, the fruit of charity, to nourish himself, to satisfy his hunger, so that by its beauty, by its shade, and by its fruit, this tree of our soul, founded in faith, gives pleasure, gives refreshment to the good God himself. St. Peter says that our adversary, the devil, is like a roaring lion going about whom he may devour. That image is good if we consider ourselves as a human being going about. But if we are still considering the image of the tree, we have to switch from the image of the lion and say the devil is like a locust. One locust who comes near the tree of our soul might nibble a bit at the fruit and the leaves, but cause no significant damage. But if we are like all men, even if we are just, we fall 7 times a day. 7 locusts, 70 locusts, 700 locusts, a whole plague of locusts, causing more or less damage. With a plague of locusts, they cover the tree, and within minutes, everything is gone. The fruit, the leaves, the tender branches, the tree, the bigger branches and the trunk begin to die, so that maybe life, a little bit of life, is found only deep in the roots that could be revived. We have to avoid sin, so we have not only to live the life of faith, to live the life of the virtues, to bring forth these fruits, especially the fruit of charity, but at the same time to protect it from what might cause damage, from our sins against any of the 10 Commandments, against any of the virtues. And that has to be done, that gardening, that caring for the tree of our soul, that warding off of the locusts has to be done in the same spirit of the original fruits. It has to be done with charity, with a real love for those other souls we come in contact with. We cannot fight off the devil, the world, our flesh, by the use of some pesticide that would keep the locusts away. The pesticide of bitterness, the pesticide of arrogance, the pesticide of violence, or any of the other pesticides that we've seen in others who are of the faith and who give us and leave us with a bad taste in our mouth. The pesticide, yes, it might keep away some of the dangers, but it itself begins to sour the fruit of charity. It begins to wither the leaves of the other virtues. It weakens the tree of our soul, which is based on faith, so that the good God coming to our soul will say, "It is not so beautiful. I do not wish to stay and contemplate. Much of the shade has gone away. I do not wish to rest here next to it, tasting the fruit, bitterness, sourness. I am not pleased." And he leaves, abandons our soul. So, my friends, what we learn by our faith, to believe in the good God, to believe what he has taught us, to believe enough to do what he has asked us to do, and to use the helps that he has given us. This, my friends, is the life that comes based on our faith, and will, if we use it properly, give great pleasure to the good God, who will see its beauty, who will rest in its shade, and who will enjoy and nourish himself on the fruits of charity that we bring forth by our faith in God. This is the grace that I beg of the good God to grant you all. God bless you all.